All right, we will now welcome in our guest from today, joining us from all the way across the world down in Australia. He is the 8th fittest man on the planet, coming off a career best finish at the CrossFit Games. His name is Jay Crouch. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today, brother. How are you doing?
Let's go. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Initial reactions, hearing your name called 8th fittest man on earth. I know the top 10 is always a big goal for a lot of individual athletes, but has it fully sunk in yet?
Yeah, I was going to say that intro sort of cheered me up. But, I mean, it has sunk in now for sure. But obviously, yeah, just sort of making that next step is, yeah, definitely what you said, like a lot of people's goal. So, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm riding it for sure.
But it's interesting because last year you finished 28th, and probably going from that, the next goal would be, okay, now I'm going to break top 15 and then top 10 and top 5. But 28th to 8th place, I think you had a lot of people with their jaws on the ground seeing you so far up the leaderboard. What has training been like over the last year that really has set you up for so much success this season?
Yeah, I mean, like, that, yeah, and that like jump for me, like it didn't surprise me, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I had that in me, but I was just sort of trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, I guess, over the last couple years. But yeah, I think the biggest thing I have to credit is definitely the preparation this year. Like I come over to the US 3 weeks before the games. That's the longest I've spent out there previously. So yeah, mainly that and just getting all the exposure to the heat. We're in Nashville, so it was like, I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it was like mid-30s Celsius every day. So that's it was like much hotter there than it was in Madison this year. So mainly that, and I joined Proven from after semi-finals. So the volume and the way that they prep was a lot different to what I've done years prior as well. So those two things were a big change up.
And it's interesting to hear you say, like, it didn't surprise you. You felt like you had this. And that is the general sentiment that I got from a lot of people down in Australia, that they were waiting for this type of breakout year for you as someone that was, maybe expected to kind of be one of the torchbearers for Australia for the future. You obviously mentioned the change in Proven and the early preparation coming out to the games 3 weeks sooner. Was it just that? Was it just a simple matter of volume and timing, or was there any sort of approach that you started to carry into this season from a bigger picture that allowed you to succeed?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like a lot of little things too, as in like the change of the goal of, it was just getting to the games and then sort of just seeing what happened. But I suppose after those couple of years, like probably, yeah, maturing as an athlete, I'm getting a little bit older too. So I was sort of like that's changed. And yeah, the goal was to do as best as I can at the game, sort of having that in mind all year. But yeah, like the big things that stand out for me, it was the volume for sure. Like most training days felt exactly how the games days were. Like I was saying a lot, especially that first day at the games, like it felt just like training. Like we'd go for a ride in the morning, then we'd have a workout, and then it was like a skills piece. Like that day wasn't too bad, but yeah, it was just like during the games, it was just very familiar to training for me pretty much. So I feel like, yeah, I just had to credit the preparation for sure.
Because of that, like change in training and joining Proven and even coming over to the US a little bit earlier, does that make you want to almost reevaluate this upcoming season by maybe coming and training with Proven in person a couple times more often?
Yeah, like for sure. Like I think being with them in person is gonna do only good things. So I think, like, especially with road coming up and stuff too, we can plan little trips here and there. But yeah, I think for the most part, it will just be coming over earlier for the games.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough element of being an athlete from that region. I feel like so much of the elite CrossFit competition world exists, in North America and in Europe, and it seems like that's a little bit of an uphill battle for you. Is that Do you feel like that's starting to change a little bit, or is there a pull naturally to have to want to spend more time in North America?
Yeah, I mean, like I think if you got the friends and you've done it a couple of times and whatnot, like going into that environment and like sort of feeling welcome and comfortable is a big one. So, and having done it now before, I think it's only going to get easier for me. But the everyone knows the flight and the travel ain't fun. Like it's definitely not an advantage for sure. But I think if you allow the time and and I mean a lot of guys from Australia don't have like that sort of like support with travel and stuff like that. So that makes it hard because it is expensive. But like the way I'm set up now, like I think it's only just gonna become normal for me, and if you allow the time, it's not going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
What was the CrossFit Games experience like for you this year versus last year? I mean, anytime that I would look over in the warm up or cool down area, you were just glowing. You had the biggest smile on your face. It didn't really matter what the event was, how you finished. It just looked like you were really enjoying yourself this year. So how does it compare to last year?
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's like, it's like black and white, really. Like, I was I went into this year with just the goal of just having fun, and I was just going to take it one at a time. And it's not that I didn't care, but I was like, in my mind, I was just like going to care less about what sort of result I was getting each time. And then, on the flip side of that, to see that I was just giving my best effort and I was getting those results. That was I was just building my confidence up every event. So and I was just basically building off that momentum every time, and it just kept happening. So
Was that a big conversation across the board? Because the more athletes I've spoken with, the more I'm hearing this sentiment of, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy the experience. Do you talk about that with other athletes? And does it seem like there's almost this shift in mindset?
It's not something I speak about too much with other athletes, but it was just more for me, like especially with the experience I had last year, going in with expectation, and then when you don't get it, it sort of turns bad, like it turns to shit basically. So that was probably more just from what I know, and like just sort of not putting the pressure on yourself, and then it's not gonna go bad.
Mm-hmm. Are you a leaderboard guy? Do you check it after each event or test?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to know. I don't stress too much about that stuff, but it's like, just sort of, especially on the back end too. Like you got to know who you got to beat, basically. So it's more just a fun thing for the first couple of days.
Mm-hmm. And so, with that in mind, you come out of the gate on the first test of the weekend with Ride, and you have, I mean, pretty much your best career event finish of your career. I mean, a third place. You're hot out of the gates. I mean, did you know at that point? Was there something almost immediately? Because you talk to some athletes, and getting that first one in a strong finish can really kind of set the tone for the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I think it definitely did. But when that workout got announced, I was pretty pumped. Like, I was also pumped for the Ride one last year, but I sort of didn't execute good on that. So I was like, going into this one this year, I'm like, I'm gonna do it perfectly, because I've grown up riding bikes, and I like a bike workout is like something different too that you're not doing in the gym every day. So I was pumped to see that get announced, and then the goal with that was just to get out the front early with all the good riders, and then and that's exactly what we did. But you're right, it did set the tone for sure for the rest of the weekend, and that was just such a fun event.
So you say you grew up riding mountain bikes. It's funny because I instantly am thinking, oh my gosh, is this a Australian thing between you and Ricky and everybody just like out there on the trails? But what were some of the other sports that you grew up doing, and what do you think has had the most carryover into CrossFit?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up doing like all sports. I was playing, like, I raced dirt bikes. I played basketball, AFL football. yeah, all sorts of stuff like tennis, all that sort of stuff as a young kid. But yeah, like I was like also really into like trampolining, like not professional, but I just had a trampoline in my backyard. So I
Whoa.
mean,
Okay.
for yeah, like we like every day after like high school, we were on like the trampoline doing flips and all that sort of stuff. So um, I would say like that, even though like I didn't do it as a sport, but I was just sort of always on like my hands doing like cartwheels and like backflips on the ground too. So I would say that. Just being
So
like,
you like
being like
Boz's
body.
programming with a lot of gymnastics.
Yeah, well, yeah, for the most part, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that just made me like more body aware, and it's a good thing for sure.
Hmm. Interesting. It's. Do you feel like that kind of went in conjunction with the fact that you started CrossFit at an early age? I mean, you were doing it by the time you were 15, I think. Does that development go hand in hand with each other?
For sure, yeah. My dad got me into CrossFit. He was doing it for like a year prior. He found it, and then I was sort of like I wasn't fat, but I was sort of just like a little chubby kid in high school. So he got me down, and yeah, like I suppose yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, I was in a gym for like I think when I was like just before I turned 14. So yeah, those two things would definitely help.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were kind of a chubby kid in high school. I mean, what did that do for you? To obviously step into a gym where like you're basically given the tools to kind of change your body composition, maybe
Mhm.
add some confidence, and look better, I guess.
For sure. And I think that yeah, that was the goal. That was just to like yeah, to get fitter and look a bit better than in high school and stuff. But yeah, that quickly turned like a few years later, and I'm like, oh, getting decent at this, and being in like the teenage category and sort of like just missing out like on the games as a teenager. I think I was like it was when I think it was like 2016 when they were still sending 10 teenagers, and like my best finish was 17th. Um, so when I think, and that's what probably motivated me too to keep going because I never made it in the teenage division. But yeah, like when it started to get like serious, and I was like, oh, I could probably have a good crack at this.
Mhm.
Was yeah around then.
Hmm. Yep.
So then what was like the change for you that CrossFit went from, you know, losing weight to I'm kind of good at this to maybe I'll do a couple of CrossFit local competitions to I'm going to make this my life and I'm going to be really serious about it and try to qualify for the games.
Yeah, I'd say that was around when I was about 17, 18 years old when I started going as a team on the CrossFit Frankston affiliate.
Mhm.
That was when I was like, yeah, I can like, if I just keep doing this, is like it's going to be a thing for sure. And it was like, even just watching it as a teenager and stuff, I was like, I'd love to do that. And then yeah, that switch sort of was when I was on a team, an affiliate team, and got that experience and sort of seen the individuals do it in person and sort of go through it in a team. But yeah, like I feel like that was like I've always said like the bridging the gap from like because you see a lot of like the boys in the teenage division. It's rare that they're gonna be out of that and straight into the individual
Mhm.
men's division. So I feel like being on that team and sort of yeah bridging that gap, getting that experience, still having the motivation, training in a team and around your friends. It kept me in the gym and kept me motivated and yeah and again bridge that gap for me to make that jump into
Mhm.
individual men division. So yeah, it was awesome.
I remember when during those 2 years, because you made it with Frankston, which is Rob Forte's gym. Yeah,
Yep.
you guys made it on the team back-to-back years. And the second year, and I think it was 2018, you finished in the top 10. And there was a
Yep.
lot of chatter. And Rob, to be fair, was hyping you up. He was like, "Hey, there's this young guy. He's coming." I think you were maybe 19 at the time when you guys cracked the top 10 and on the team
Yep.
side.
Yep.
What has it been like, and what was kind of the influence that Rob had in your journey, because he was a mainstay out of that region for so long?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like yeah, it's cool. Like obviously to be able to be on a team with him, see how he operated and stuff. But yeah, I've been training with Rob since 2017. So and at his affiliate. So yeah, heaps of things like the way you yeah, all the stuff I probably take for granted now. They just sort of like transferred into me. Like just I can't even think of it now because it's just so normal. But yeah, like yeah, the way I carry myself, sort of before and after workouts, and just all the little 1% things for sure.
Do you have like a group of people that you're training with when you're in Australia, or do you have to like travel to go to work out with people, or is it just when you're with Proven? What kind of is the dynamic with all of that?
Yeah, there's a few boys like around sort of that semi-final athlete level that travel down and come train with us, sort of, especially around like open quarterfinals too, when it's like still a bit of fun. But yeah, like there's because I'm in Melbourne, so there's not too many guys down here that are sort of competing at that elite level. So I mean, whenever I'm in a different state for some sort of reason, I'll reach out to the other boys. We're all very friendly, so it's cool.
Do you feel like sometimes that's challenging because you're kind of in your own bubble? I mean, we see the leaderboard and that the top 3 on both leaderboards, they really aren't at specific training camps. So I think it's just an interesting conversation of what's actually the biggest benefit, training alone and kind of seeing your competitors, or being in a group. Like, what is your thoughts on that?
I feel like both is good. But yeah, for me, I think like what's been keeping me going so long too is just having mates throwing banter around. Hasn't really mattered too much on what level that they are. I just sort of enjoy it, being around a good group of people. But yeah, but it always helps too, like sort of just tapping into training with someone that is gonna push you as well. But yeah, like I think if you just keep the motivation going by when you need it, go and seeing someone or whatever, and then coming back, and then it's lit the fire again. So yeah, for the most part, I'd just say having a good group of people around you at any level is going to be fun.
You also have another piece to that equation too, with Maddie Sturt, your girlfriend and partner.
That's a good point. I forgot about it.
Yeah, we can cut that out if you need to. We'll make sure Maddie doesn't
Can't
see
make
that
you
part.
look bad.
But she's someone that is in this sport as well. She also, I mean, she broke through the games in 2015 at 19 years old. She was very young as well. I mean, what's been that process like, having her alongside you during this ride too, where, let's be frank, sometimes there's going to be situations when it's been like that the last couple of years where one of you might make it and one doesn't.
Yeah, 100%, and that's been awesome as well. That's what I mean. I forgot about, so I take it for granted. We're always battling in workouts with only friendly competition as well. But yeah, no, she's been awesome. Like something that I definitely have to credit her for. Like when she sort of just missed out the last couple of years, she's always like been only supportive for my CrossFit Games. So yeah, it's been super cool, and she was had my coach's pass this year, and did absolutely everything for me. So it's been great.
And when she has the coach's pass there, is it pretty easy for you guys to not blur those lines between like your personal relationship and then, like, obviously trying to attend to you as an athlete? Or do you even not want to blur that? Is it something that you feel best just operating as is?
Yeah, I mean, we had like obviously the proven coaches to sort of talk about game plans, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like I feel like just naturally, like we know when we want to talk CrossFit, or we know when it's just come naturally now, where we're just like it's never really been a problem. Like we're either going to talk CrossFit or we're not going to talk CrossFit. Like it's easy.
Oh man. So I kind of want to touch back onto the games because there's a couple points that stood out to me. I remember specifically in Helena and then in intervals, there were two tests where I got to watch from our perch, the broadcast, And I was amazed at how both you, intervals specifically, you and Bailey, and then also in Helena, how comfortable you guys seemed in that top heat. Is that an awareness thing for you? Are you guys even clued into like, hey, we're with the best of the best right now in this top heat, in this environment? I'm curious where your mindset and what your I guess your existence is as an athlete in those moments, because I was thoroughly impressed because it seemed like you had been there years before.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, I sort of had to remind us. I did think about it for a split second, sort of being in the corrals and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, it's where I want to be for sure. And sort of when you go out there, I just stay in my own lane and do my thing. I mean, yeah, I think that's just come with years of competing too. Like, and being around the boys in different environments, different competitions too, and just realizing they're just a normal person just like you. So, and they're just going to be fighting for that spot. So, yeah, it's super cool because that's where I've wanted to be for so long as well. Like for like to be in like that top heat. I think I wasn't in that top heat for one event for the whole week. So, you get used to it too. I'd say being like, well, I was in it for like 11 events. So, yeah, it quickly become normal, but also, yeah, I was reminding myself that it's super cool to be in that top heat and probably what I've been working for so long.
Is there a benefit to being that? Like, I mean, obviously there's a benefit seeing all the athletes before you and knowing what's been laid out in front of you. We talk about the energy of the top heat and physically being side by side with the best, but is it a tangible thing that you know you're getting a benefit from?
Oh, definitely. Like, there was a few things on like even the sandbag. You didn't know if boys were going to hold on, so that's good to see. They held on. So sweet. We got to do that too.
Yeah.
How quickly that sled pull was going to move. Like, was it going to be something that was going to be super hard and it was going to be all about that, or was it going to be something that's going to be quick and easy? So there's heaps of advantages with having that for sure.
But like thinking about the alpaca event and how different those sleds moved last year when it was raining, this year when it was out in the heat, how did that event feel compared to last year? And when you got to that sled, were you like, how much weight is on here?
It was completely different for me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you know what? Like me being just silly, I didn't even think about it being wet last year. So I was going straight into it. I was like, didn't even think it was going to be about the sleds. And then I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, I got left behind too. And I was like, I saw just all the other boys just gapping me straight away. And I was like, looked to the side and I saw Bailey Martin struggling with it too. And I was like, all right, bro, let's do this together. But I couldn't, yeah, that shocked me. And then I got to the end on just on getting all the first length of all the sled out, and I step up on the mat for the rope climbs, and my legs were gone. So no, that one was a shock for sure. But yeah, something I probably need to work on too.
What other maybe elements or programming pieces stand out to you? Because there were a lot of odd objects, a lot of unique pieces that maybe in another year might have been a barbell or something like that. And obviously you had your best performance of your career at the game. So I'm curious, in retrospect, what are the pieces that stand out, and maybe what are some moments that you've been able to reflect on fondly?
As far as just like the weakness side, like
either way, I mean, like if I went, all right, tell me about the 2023 CrossFit Games and what are like the first 5 memories or pieces, or like obviously the alpaca was tough. A lot of people would probably pick that. Maybe some people might pick the sandbag, but what are the things that stand out to you from the week?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for stuff that I got to work on is that all that sort of more like grunt work, odd object stuff out on the North Park was sort of a bit of a struggle for me. But yeah, like looking back, I would say obviously it was awesome to get some best finishes there with the bike and the inverted medley with all the handstands, all that sort of stuff. So that's what I was most stoked. Like on day one, I'd got 2 events that were already better than what my best finish was years prior. But yeah, like Probably one of the proudest moments for me would have been the 5K run. Just the way that I was like very dialed in mentally, and I mean it wasn't too hot, but I was still happy with just how I was sort of feeling through that physically also, and I just still haven't sort of, I don't know if like you guys like saw the video at the end, but I sort of like just sprinted it home strong and got a few guys at the end there. So yeah, that was definitely like my most proudest moment because I wasn't too sure how I was going to stack up going in. But yeah, there is plenty of good moments for sure.
What is the vibe and the energy with some of those guys, especially in the 5K? Because you could see people's lips moving, and I'm always wondering, what are they saying and what is going on? Like, can you give us a peek behind the curtain of some of those chats that happen?
Um, I can probably only just think of at the end, like, because I saw, like, as we were running to the finish line, I saw, like, I just sort of quickly looked over my shoulder. I saw Aldous. He was like making a strong finish. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get on it here, and went for it. And I saw, I was like getting very close to Chandler. I was like, he doesn't know we're coming, and and yeah, I ended up getting Chandler like just at the line, and like he was joking about it, but he was funny saying like, "Oh, you get me out of the line," or whatever. Wasn't happy about it, but he was funny.
I think that's one of like the fun things is listening to the men and the women talk to the other athletes in the cool down area, and it's so interesting because there's no other sport where you would see competitors like beefing it up with each other and hyping each other up, and I think that's really cool. But is there anybody like on the men's field that is somebody that you've really gravitated towards and really been able to go to them for like advice, whether it's a veteran or maybe somebody that's now looking up to you since you've been to the games a couple of times?
Yeah, I mean we sort of in the warm up area have like a locker area where it's all like sectioned off just for all the boys that have all their own locker with their names on it and stuff, and not too many people use it throughout the week, but I was next to Valna. I obviously trained with Will Morad, so I got along with him very well. Adler was in there, James Sprague at one point. So yeah, it was cool, like just to sort of like debrief a little bit with those boys over the whole week. So yeah, and like I mean, and Valna, like he's awesome. Like it was cool to like hang out with him a lot too. This on that week. He's just so funny. He's got so much banter and experience too. So yeah, I was yeah, chopping it back and forth with him about some workouts, and yeah, it was super cool.
Mm. What is this off season going to be like for you? Do you have any vacations planned? I know we have Rogue coming up, and I think it's really only like a little more than 2 months away. But what does like now look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having 2 weeks off completely, so I've got what, like 5 more days off, which
Good
has
for
been
you.
nice. Yeah, and then yeah, I'm gonna get back into it and do Rogue, so that's gonna be exciting. I've never done Rogue before, so I'm pumped about that. I'm pumped to get back into it, and it won't be as big of trip as the games was for us, but I'll probably come over maybe just a week earlier and try to send it.
Any specific things that you're then going to ramp up into training for Rogue, just looking at last year's programming and years prior?
Um, Probably just some conversations that I need to have, but nothing specific in my mind at the moment. I'm tipping it might look a little bit like games training for 8 weeks.
How hard is that though to come off of, I mean, a long CrossFit Games season? You then decompress, maybe eat some pizza, ice cream, stay up till 3 a.m. watching movies, and then have to literally ramp up your body to prepare for volume that last year was very similar to the games.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably have to just cross that bridge once it gets to it.
We're not there yet.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'll like the proven coaches are smart, so I think I'll be just sort of easing my way back into it and peaking at the right time. But I mean, like for me, it's an opportunity that I just don't want to miss again, like something I got to take. So I suppose yeah, it is what it is. I'll be ready for it, and I'm excited. It looked super cool last year, so let's go.
It always looks so cool, especially with like the big hill run, and it looks a lot smaller on TV than it does in person. So I
Yeah,
know the proven camp knows that.
yeah, for sure. No, that looks cool. And they'll like, I think are they pulling like it was like called the turtle or something, like a sandbag. They'll pull on the rope. That looked cool too. So I'm excited just
Yeah.
for all the different stuff. I'm keen for.
Okay, so then this year at the CrossFit Games, you finished 8th overall. So that was a 20 place improvement.
Yeah.
What have you even like started to think about what is the goal for next year?
I mean, not really. All it really is going to do now is just give me even more confidence, I suppose, going into next year. And yeah, I'm still going to take the same approach, just like no expectation, just have fun. And yeah, that's just going to follow me. So the result will just follow.
I love it. Just have fun and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
What things outside of CrossFit do you enjoy doing? Are you somebody that started into like the pickleball competitions that almost everybody's been doing?
You know what? I've been wanting to give that a go because like yeah, growing up doing like a little bit of tennis here and there. It looks like good fun. Never done it, but no, like we live on 18 acres, still with mum and dad. But yeah, we got like motorbikes, all that sort of stuff. So that's always fun. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, CrossFit's just been my life for the last 2 months. So I haven't been doing too much, but yeah, like, I got a dog, so always hanging out with him, taking him places, and yeah, pretty much whatever I can fit in, catching up with some mates in between.
Okay, so I'm back now. I don't know for anyone that's watching at home, my computer just completely like
Tommy
reset on me
glitched out.
somehow. I have no idea what happened. And I'm finally back. So I hope you guys had a great chat.
Yeah, I was like,
We
nah.
did. Jay and I were kicking it.
Tommy's not into me. He doesn't want to talk.
No, man, I was totally. I felt so helpless.
Unamused.
I could see you guys talking, but for some reason my computer was glitching out. I think it was trying to go through an update in the middle of this. I'm just total amateur hour over here with me. I'm sorry. So you know, hey, feel free to catch me up on what you guys chatted about because it looked like you were having a great conversation. I felt really embarrassed, but oh.
We talked about Rogue. We talked about pickleball. We talked about the CrossFit Games.
Oh man. I'll be honest, the last, and this is like right off the cuff, the last thing I heard was that you enjoyed the 5K. And then that was
Yeah.
oh, but did you guys cover like plans for Rogue as far as like, you know, expectations and things like that?
Yeah, not so much expectations, but yeah, I'm just excited just to do it, take that opportunity, and yeah, I'm just pumped for all the different stuff that they'll throw at us.
I'll take the ball and run with it here, I guess, a little bit. So, you know, in my 15, 16 years of this, the Australian community has always come across as so tight knit and very unique in its support of its athletes and people. And I'm curious what the response has been for you, maybe from the community, since you've had this like amazing, you know, week at the games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my messages have been through the roof. Like everyone's so pumped. Just to sort of, yeah, I think yeah, like sort of you were saying, like it's been something that people thought I could have been doing, you know, the last couple of years. So to finally do it, everyone's like so pumped. Yeah, just obviously friends, family, and yeah, you just sort of you get messages from all sorts of people that you wouldn't expect for sure. So it's been big. Like I've been back to the CrossFit Frankston just once, so I haven't seen everyone yet. But yeah, it's been cool. Everyone's super pumped.
What's been the cool down from the games like this year?
The cool down, I'm just having 2 weeks off completely. So I've got 5 days left. So I've been enjoying it. Just sort of haven't been honestly, I haven't been doing too much. Just hanging out with family and my dog.
The important things.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to see Luke Combs this Saturday. In Melbourne.
Oh,
About that.
Okay.
now I'm jealous.
You got to lead with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
Good for you.
you got a Luke Combs type beard too. I like it. You know, it fits in with the country music vibe for sure.
Well, yeah, cool. No,
Will that be your first
Like that.
Luke Combs concert?
Yeah, it will. I was we had Morgan Wallen out of here like a few months, and I was spewing that I didn't go to that, but yeah, it was sort of country music's definitely taken off in Australia. I feel like everywhere, I suppose, in like mainstream in the last year, so it's cool.
Oh man,
Do you ever
Jay,
fitness to country?
Yeah, for sure.
Jay, you just went up a million spots in my book with Luke Combs. He's like what? He's probably my favorite country artist.
Yeah.
But big fan. I wanted to touch on a little bit more of just kind of the future of the Australian community, because I think it's really tough with only a handful of spots coming up, and I think both your performance and Bailey's in particular could potentially highlight, you know, maybe the need, maybe not the need, or just kind of the talent and people that are kind of brewing down there as athletes. And I'm curious if you feel like, you know, maybe the men's side is starting to see a little bit of a renaissance with like Tia and Cara having kind of dominated the headlines there for a long time. And I don't know if there's any other beasts you guys got waiting in the wings that we should kind of keep our eyes on out for.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys. I feel like there's probably 5 guys I feel like that could that will hopefully make that jump. But like you saw it, Bailey didn't surprise me at all. I knew like he had that in him as well, especially like when I was like we're pretty similar athletes. Like I feel like when I was having a good weekend, then sort of just to see him in the mix as well, definitely wasn't a surprise. Obviously, Ricky's going to be back next year. So I think when Ricky made like a post that he was saying like that he's pumped to come back next year or whatever, that blew up. And then Bailey sort of put his 2 cents in the comments, and I was like saying that the Torian Pro roof's going to blow off next year. And it is like on the men's side, it's going to be super competitive. Obviously, Ricky, me, Bailey are like, for the most part, probably going to be the favorites for those 3 spots. And there's guys like, obviously, Jake Douglas had a great performance this year at semis. And Will Carney's coming up, another proven athlete. So I mean, it's exciting. It's going to be like a dogfight out there, but I like it. It should sort of hopefully make CrossFit realize that there's good guys down there, and we probably do need some more spots. So.
All right, so I've been eyeing trying to make it down there for an event, and I want you to make your case for coming to the Torian Pro or any one of the Aussie events down there, because it does seem like you guys have heaps of fun.
I don't think he needs to make a case. It always looks amazing. I have serious FOMO just watching it on the live stream.
For sure, it's a show, man. Like we got flames and there's stuff going on. Like it's a party. Like honestly, the whole weekend is just a party. Like all the Aussie crowd goes off for it. Everyone's, you know, it's crazy. Like the atmosphere in there is like, it's like the Coliseum's good. The Coliseum's loud. And there's definitely probably what is probably takes second to that for sure. But it's crazy. It's nuts. It's a party for sure. Like it's electric out there. And it looks sick. Like it's packed.
Yeah.
The floor is and the floor looks awesome too. Like what they've done with that. I think it's like the same floor as like Dubai, I think.
To even have those in the same sentence as the Coliseum is a vote of confidence for sure.
Yeah, like it is. Like, I mean, the Coliseum can get deafening, and that's definitely different what I noticed this year. But it's very similar, very similar.
Wow.
Just sort
booking
of
my
like a
ticket
different
now.
vibe too. Like up the top of the stadium, it's like open and it's usually like pretty sunny in Brisbane. So it's cool. I definitely think you guys should come out.
I think that's a pretty good indicator, Lauren. We need to make our way down. I don't know if you talked about this while I was in no man's
Glitching.
land for a little bit, but one thing that stood out to me was not just like the top end performances, but how you managed tests that maybe weren't your strong suit. You mentioned alpaca, but really the alpaca and ski bag as your lowest finishes being 22nd. That's like right around the halfway mark. It is a tremendous job of like reducing those bottom half finishes and minimizing that damage. Was that a conscious thing? Was there a heavier focus on some weakness elements and things that you might have struggled with in the past?
For sure. Like I think, like you said, it's good that they're sort of closer to that 20th mark, which was what I was probably more happy about. Like years prior, I probably would have been in the 30s, and you can't really be having those. So yeah, I was sort of. It was definitely. I definitely wasn't happy about being in that spot, but it was sort of more like it's not as bad. Like the damage control, it was sort of more on the controlled side. So yeah, I mean, probably my most disappointing workout was the muscle up sandbag one. I wasn't too happy about that, but that was only because that's probably where it's at. Like I couldn't have executed any better, so that was probably the most frustrating one. But yeah, for the most part, like I just had to obviously let it go and move on to the next one and build up the momentum again. But yeah, I feel like just it's a win in itself making those workouts closer to that top 20 than being in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lauren, you got much else? The only other question I had, and this one kind of popped in my head as I was looking at your bio, because one, it says that you were born in '99, which makes my head hurt. As an old man, it makes my head hurt a little bit. But as far as like the athletic development, right? We've seen some of the women make an impact almost immediately as teenagers and as young. In terms of your career arc so far, as someone that competed as a teenager, trying to make it, but maybe more seriously, kind of breaking onto the scene as an adult. Have you seen a difference in the caliber of athletes, or even in yourself in like the athletic development? Like 24, 25 is like a pretty key part where things just start to click at a different level.
For sure, like I feel like more mentally, like well, for me, just being at the games a few years now, like mentally, and being around the guys and not sort of being like intimidated and just realizing that they're the same, just the same as you. But yeah, mainly that, and like yeah, just maturing for sure. Obviously, as I'm getting older, I'm probably getting stronger too, turning into, I suppose, less of a boy and more of a man. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey, I take it from me, old man strength is a real thing. I don't know how, but it somehow you keep getting stronger as you get older. But it's a nice thing to fall back on. Was there ever any pressure for you to feel like you had to be next in line from Australia? I know, like, kind of maybe following in Rob's footsteps a little bit is obviously, he was a mainstay down there, and being successful at a young age kind of puts a little bit of pressure on some of these athletes, and it's been tough, for some of the athletes on the women's side too. But I'm curious if you felt that.
For sure. I definitely didn't feel like the pressure of it. It was just more wanting to do it, and I suppose just proving to myself that I can do it for sure. I didn't feel any pressure. Like it's all just fun and games for me.
That's a good way to look at it.
Five more days of whatever fun and games you want to have on vacation.
Exactly right.
Oh man. Well, my last question is, as far as like, I know maybe it's a little too early, but you'll have the opportunity at Rogue. The off season, is certainly starting to get more robust with each and every year. Have you started to map out a plan for maybe resetting through the off season and into next year at all?
Yeah, I think that's probably just going to be after Down Under CrossFit Champs in the start of December. I'll be on a team for that, so that will sort of just be more of like a chill comp and just giving back to the Australian community and being amongst it for sure, which I love. But yeah, like pretty much from there, December to the Open, I'll be chilling and enjoying like a bit of a Christmas break and stuff, and then we're back at it.
Oh, oh man,
Yes, we are.
not just back at it with, you know, top 10, another year under your belt, and maybe some higher aspirations in your sights as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But Jay, it was honestly awesome to watch you throw down this year. It was noticeable, you know, on the media side of the thing. We noticed it too, just the way you carried yourself out on the floor and the presence that you had amongst the top dogs in the big heat, and you proved that you belong there. And it certainly looked the part along the way. So we're stoked for you. Appreciate you taking the time. You know, I know that the time difference is always crazy, and hopefully we'll get to have you on again soon.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great chatting with you, Jay. Enjoy the next couple of days.
Thank you, guys. Legends.